Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of News Round for Anfield Index. It is Monday, the 12th of May. It is the morning where I am, which prompts a few interesting chats, doesn't it? About the weekend just gone, the week ahead, the season ahead, the transfer window that's upcoming, and many other things. But as normal, I'm your host, Dave Davis, coming to you from one of them. It's gloomy in Edinburgh or overcast, but it's humid. You know, one of those. So fingers crossed, it might break a bit later. We'll have to see. And fingers crossed, it is good wherever you are in the world. But we start News Round. We ask that question as we always do. How are we? Monday morning after the 2-2 draw against Arsenal and everything that entailed. Now, this will be mixed, I suspect, for many. Mixed in the sense of when you're 2-0 up at half-time at Anfield and don't win, you're disappointed. Mixed in the sense of, well, we've already won the league, and for many, it's still party time. And we'll talk about that as well, because there's some brilliant videos and different things doing the round. But mixed in the sense of, you know the player I'm talking about, you know the reaction, you know the media narratives that are going to build this week as well. So all that comes into the mix. The only thing to ultimately say is you will all have an opinion and you are all entitled to that opinion, whatever gets said. Now, yesterday, you've got to split this game a little bit. And when I say split it in terms of before, up to half time, and then what we saw second half and after. Because unfortunately, I couldn't make the game. So I gave a ticket to a mate yesterday and various others that I go to the game with regularly, you know, many. And it's not about match goers, non-match goers, as I'm saying this, but a lot were saying like the atmosphere beforehand, brilliant. The coach got a welcome. The sun was out, so the weather plays a part in it as well. The pyro was on the go, the whole lot. So there was a real feel-good factor at Anfield before kickoff. And everyone was building up to it. Everyone was desperate to win this one, fan-wise, because of who were playing, the situation, all the other bits. So before the game, the fans were bang at it. Yeah, make no mistake about that at all. Then there's the first half, isn't there? Where we're 2-0 up at the whistle. And by the way, there's a couple of brilliant goals. The Robbo cross, the Gakpo header, brilliant goal. Even better, the second, that Salah pass. Oofed, mad on. There's a Bosley run. The finish from Diaz sliding in like a proper forward. Great goal, 2-0. And in fact, if you're honest, it should have been absolutely more. Salah will be annoyed this morning because we know how Mo Salah works. He'll be thinking, why didn't Luis Diaz score and get me another assist in this race when I squared it to him and he just smashed it straight at Raya, point blank? Why didn't Gakpo square it to me when I just had a tap-in before the goal? And obviously sliding door moments in football. We score a few seconds later from the Robbo cross. But you know how Mo Salah works. So, I mean, it should have been more, to be honest. We were absolutely rampant. The first half was brilliant. The first half was also brilliant before the game because you saw their fans, they weren't happy, and you saw them giving us a guard of honour. So that was absolutely magic, everything about the first half. The atmosphere was brilliant. And by the way, did anyone clock that banner at all? The Mikel Arteta one. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I see people saying that's like, it's weird. I don't know if I like that. I thought it was brilliant. I like many as ever. The cop, the whole stadium, was in red. They'd heeded the captain's call. It looked special. And everything about this game was special up until the second half. And if you're doubting me on this, people go, not that. Trust me, mates who go say it was brilliant. Mates who said of all the games, like last week was the best ever. It was also a case of the concourses were buzzing. I had mates in the Cop, Main, and Upper Run who I spoke to message yesterday, and they all said it was going off at half time. So if you missed it, the song might surprise you, it might not. You may be humming it a bit like me this morning, but let's have a listen to what was going off in the concourses.
Fuck off, you, they are the cop right now.
In maybe the most bizarre thing I found about yesterday, the Benicio said there, first half was great, atmosphere bubbling, and the Chiesa song. All mates that I spoke to in, say, the Cop, the Main, and Annie Road Upper all said the Chiesa song was going off. To a man, they all said that. And it's funny because the reason I say that, he wasn't even in the squad, was he? He wasn't even in the squad, but the Chiesa song was bouncing. And why am I talking about this? Because again, it's just another element of how good it was right up until the second half. And in the second half, it changed, didn't it? I mean, I'm not actually sure, truth be told. I even watched the highlights again. It is a bit of a pattern recently, this second half. It used to always be the slot MO was a case of we probe a little bit, we work it out in the first half, we make the corrections, we do the business second half. That has been the story of the season. Let's not pretend on that at all. But I don't know what sort of changed a little bit, but you think about the Wolves game we won 2-1. Didn't do anything in the second half and we're holding on. You think about the West Ham game, we won 2-1. Again, go 2-0 up. Again, holding on second half. And this one, again, I don't know, it just seems recently, and before when anyone says, it's because the title's won, we hadn't won it at Wolves, we hadn't won it by West Ham. Just seems a little bit sometimes. Maybe it's a dangerous score, 2-0 for this team, I don't know. But yeah, another one where, the second half, we did nothing, didn't we? They get an early goal where one right back could have done better. They get a second goal where another right back plays them onside. But essentially, it was just poor, wasn't it, the second half? Aside from everything else, and we'll get into the sideshow, no one was really good second half, were they? It was just sad all round. But what was actually a bit sadder is we've got to come on to the whole thing about yesterday, the Trent situation. Now, the first thing to say is everyone's entitled to their opinion on this. Everyone. If you think he should be booed, entitled to it. Think he should be clapped, entitled to it. Just a polite ripple saying everyone is entitled to a view on this. So as I'm saying this, please, not for 1 second am I telling you what to think. I'm just telling you how I see it in this one. You are completely entitled to your thoughts. The one who I think got it spot on yesterday, he had a great assist for the goal, but did anyone see Robbo's interview just after? Where he said, it's not for us to tell the fans how to think. All I can do is tell you how I feel, and we go for, and people have got to make that decision themselves. This one, I know Bosley's been getting a bit of stick for this. Just, if anyone's not seen it, if you can't see it on the social media, the YouTube footage, this is after the game when Trent goes to clap the Cop and the reactions that come. You can see that reaction how you want. You could hear the reaction of the fans. There's no doubt about that at all. And the one thing I would say is Szoboszlai probably isn't going to understand it as much because it's his second season at the club. You might disagree on this again, but he'll see it as like players together, unity, that, the squad will be in that bubble a little bit. But maybe if he speaks to Robbo this morning, I think he gave the best interview on it. Let's just say that. If you booed, you booed, though. You're entitled to it. You pay your money, you take your choice. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And maybe like me, you're just tired of being told what we should think by national journalists, media personalities, pundits, whoever. They've got their opinions on it. I get it. But it's the fact they tell us how we should think about this. Okay? And there's some strong reactions, by the way, across the board on this as you're looking. And I get this. And on screen, there's that Trent celebration from the West Ham game. He did the thing to his ear for those that can't see it and chatter. All this goes into the mix. And there was a couple of great points on like tweets and different things I saw made, because some people were saying, oh, you've got to show it in the right way. And I thought that there was a brilliant response to it. Where else are they supposed to show him? It's not like they're going to bump to him, Asda in Aintree because he's gone there to fill his freaking Land Rover because diesel's 144 a litre, is it? They're not going to, do anything like that. Where else have the fans got to show their feelings apart from the ground? So if they want to boo, fully entitled to it. Yeah, Viniccio's so in there. Where else can fans show their displeasure? The myth that fans never boo. It's just that people have forgotten the Hodgson days. And that happened. But also other clubs telling, I can't believe this. Arsenal fans, again, are funny. Do you remember when Xhaka was getting booed off? Yeah, do you remember when they had the campaign to get rid of Wenger? Other rival fans. Do you remember when Everton booed Anthony Gordon massively in his final days there? So there's a hypocritical nature to all this as well. But everyone is entitled to express their opinion however they want it. And shout out to Barry on this. And sometimes he's a bit extreme barreled, but always well worth a follow and a read. So as he tweeted, we're in for a long week of moral grandstanding by journos, pundits and former players. But the bottom line is that those same fans who chanted his name 2 weeks ago, they gave him every chance despite him hiding all season. They're more than entitled to voice their opinion. They completely are. Because fans will feel a bit gaslighted, won't they, with that celebration, with the way he's reacted, with the silence at times, with the things he said in the past. I don't really know what people expected, but I'm going to be honest, a bit wider afield, I don't really care what as Barry's saying there, about the moral grandstanding by journos, pundits and former players. I think when I read and listen to some, they've got it wildly wrong. But again, every Liverpool fan is entitled to their opinion, whatever gets said. This bit, and listen, we adore Arnie Slot, title in his first season, got so much right. I see a lot of people saying it, he got it wildly wrong yesterday by bringing Trent on, and I think even people ignore this. The subs made it even worse a little bit, didn't they? I mean, Nunes was hopeless yesterday, but maybe the game had gone a little bit. Who knows? But everyone having a go at him for bringing Trent on. I am in that camp. I am in the camp of thinking he got it wrong. And I am also in the camp of it is a bit of an underestimation from Slot on how it will go. It would just suit everyone if, quote unquote, Trent had a knock, didn't he, for these last few weeks? That would suit everyone. Let's be honest. Yeah, and Brian Kay makes a point. When his name was booed at the start, Slot should have not brought him in. Yeah. But, and I'm trying to be fair on Arne Slot and look at it, from the whole picture. And again, it's opinion injury. Everyone's entitled to theirs. Arne Slot's paid to do what he thinks is best for Liverpool to win a game of football. Arne Slot is not paid in his role to be popular. I do think he got it wrong yesterday, but you've got to try and look at it from all sides when we're seeing this. But The reason that I'm going into this as well, it's on the screen there. James Pearce has got an article out this morning, and it does mention specifically that there are currently, say, that Trent's expected to be in the last few squads, expected to be on the parade. We'll have to see how it all pans out. I do believe that if we just found a knock, that would be better for all. But ultimately, again, my opinion, I can't wait for the last game. It's not going to spoil my celebration, enjoyment of Liverpool lifting number 20 when Virgil van Dijk does it one single bit. We will see about the moral grandstanding and everything Bills this week as it stands. But talking about this coming week, quite a few things to discuss, in all honesty. That if I bring up the Premier League table, the race for the Champions League is interesting, isn't it? That's going to probably go down to the wire. But Liverpool don't play again until a week. So they're the Monday night, aren't they? Yeah, the Monday night football, Brighton away, 8 o'clock. And I don't know if they've gone already. I don't know if it's coming, but they're on a plane to Dubai at some point today. They might already have gone, to be honest. So Liverpool are heading off in Dubai. And I'll be honest, I was a little bit thinking, is it warm weather training? Is it just another jolly up? Because before this Arsenal game, they only came back into the building on the Thursday, wasn't it? After Chelsea. So I am intrigued to see what are they doing? What's the purpose of this Dubai? Is it just some bonding? You will know as much as me. It'll be something I'll be asking David Lynch on Media Matters about later, but definitely an interesting one. But also the reason I've got the Premier League table up is, I mean, the top 7 are now fighting out for the Champions League places, aren't they? That Forest to Arsenal, those teams, all 6 of them are playing for the remaining places. Which also means that a certain Bournemouth are not playing for Europe anymore. And you may be thinking, why am I talking about Bournemouth? Well, I do wonder now, this coming week, is there a bit of acceleration in certain transfer elements for not just for us, for many clubs, because it's the 12th of May. Transfer window 1 opens on the 1st of June, as we know. Now, I've got Lewis Steele's Q&A article I did for the Daily Mail, so shout out to Lewis on the screen, because he mentioned about Kerkez, and others have said Liverpool are strong favourites for Milos Kerkez. But whilst Bournemouth were in the race for Europe and still, had something riding on their season, they were being respectful. Now, I'm not saying Liverpool are now going to be disrespectful, but now the likes of Bournemouth and others can't qualify for Europe, you do wonder if they start to move their transfer business and anything involving Liverpool starts to develop a bit quicker this week. You do know that everyone's looking for any news around Huijsen, developments around Kerkez and others for other clubs as well. So I do just wonder that now no team below Forest will get Europe, what that means for transfer development. And that's it really, isn't it? We'll have to see what sort of builds in the coming week. We'll have to see, is there any transfer development? We'll have to see, is there any, well, we know there'll be more moral grandstanding around Trent. Of course there is. But whatever gets said, ladies and gents, to set up your week, remember how good a time the fans were having. The Chiesa song at half-time, the coach welcoming before, the sun, everything up till half-time. Don't let 45 minutes of football, in my opinion, and all the things that go around it, change any narrative, which they'll try to, about the season. We have won number 20. We are champions. This is still a brilliant period, regardless of whatever narrative comes from elsewhere. And it's a week till the game. So we'll see if we get any transfer news or anything else breaks or develops in the coming week. But there we are, ladies and gents. On Monday, the 12th of May, that was another news round for Anfield Index.